Hello and welcome. I am Rahul Rawat. It was an intriguing battle of bat and ball on the second day of the World Test Championship final, and Virat Kohli led the way with a brilliant 44 not out before bad light once again disrupted the play. India finished day 2 on 146 for 3, with Virat and Rahane doing their best to thwart the New Zealand bowlers in conditions which were nowhere close to suitable as far as batting was concerned. Over the next half an hour, I will be joined by one of India's greatest spinners, Harbhajan Singh, and from Kolkata, I will have our consulting editor, Boria Majumdar. But first, a look at how day 2 panned out for India.
It's a prestigious occasion. 141 years after the first test was played here in England, we've seen plenty of action.
Quite a day for Test cricket. We all wished that bad light had not interrupted the day's play. But I've got with me Harbhajan Singh. Baju, how do you see the day ahead? Where would India like to see themselves at the end of the day?
Well, I think India had a pretty good day yesterday. Honestly, after losing the toss, I think, as I said, start was very, very important. I think Shubman and Rohit, they gave if not the perfect start, but yes, a solid start, in those conditions where first 10-15 overs were very, very crucial. You didn't want it to lose any wicket. They also didn't lose the wicket, but also they made sure they kept the scoring rate going, and they batted beautifully, and at one point, they were 60 for none. So I thought, if India could be 100 for none, it'll be a great start. But suddenly, 62 for 2 was, slightly, I can say New Zealand put the brake on Indian batting lineup. But after that, the way Virat Kohli came in and how he batted with Ajinkya Rahane was superb to see. They batted beautifully, and India sitting nicely on 140 odd and 3 wickets down. So, the big day today. I'm hoping that Virat Kohli goes on to score a century, and of course, I would like to see Ajinkya Rahane also to contribute with the bat, and rest of the batters, Rishabh Pant, Jadeja and R. Ashwin to all contribute in first innings total.
Well, that was some effort from Virat Kohli. He's unbeaten on 44, and India finished that day, that is day 2, at 146 for 3. Just to speak about some talking points that came out from the game yesterday. Virat's unbeaten 44 under the circumstances and conditions, that stop-start play, then that 58-run stand between Ajinkya Rahane, the vice-captain of this Indian team, and Virat Kohli, that opening stand between Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill of 62, that actually laid the foundation, although they lost a couple of wickets in quick succession. Cheteshwar Pujara took 36 deliveries to get off the mark and was dismissed for 8. And also to note is that the New Zealand bowlers Trent Boult and Tim Southee were not as effective as one would expect them to be to start a fresh spell. Well, Boria is also with us. Boria, we are losing a lot of time. The first day was completely washed out. Yesterday, 68.5 overs were bowled. Are we heading to a draw, or are you actually thinking that there is still a very, very good possibility of a result here?
No, at this point in time, you still hope for a result because you have that extra day. Effectively, if you count that extra day, and if I count a full day's play on day 6, then we've not lost too much. And in England, these kind of interruptions will happen. Having said that, all day tomorrow is pretty bad. Now, if you lose all day tomorrow, then it might become really tricky, Rahul. And that's why we would want India to pile up the runs, get to 275, 300, because that will mean that one team can win, and that's India, because you've got the runs on the board. And then the weather will come in, you've got the bowlers, they remain fresh. The wicket will not give the batsman anything better. No sun's going to come out. So all of the aces will then be with India if India has a good batting day. And you can put in the pressure because you know there's a second innings, you won't lose. So you will go full guns with 5 bowlers and put New Zealand under pressure, get the closing men, get the slips in, get the spinners out with the footmarks and all. And all of that will become pretty spicy. So you just want one decent batting day today.
Well, Borja, just to let our viewers know, the weather update is it's not raining in Southampton, but there are pretty decent chances, especially at 2, that is the BST, British Standard Time. 2 would be 7:30 here. There is a possibility of light showers in Southampton, not quite the kind of weather that Test cricket, or especially this particular Test match, the World Test Championship final, where the inaugural first winner of a World Test Championship would be decided. Bajuba, how difficult it is to get your concentration back in a stop-start kind of play, especially when the conditions are so very difficult for batting?
Well, I think as a professional cricketer, you learn to deal with all sort of situations, and this is not the first time Team India is in these situations where it's raining. You have to go out and play 5 overs and maybe come out for next 10 overs or 2 hours, and how to switch on and switch off is it's a that trick which everyone need to understand. While you're there in the middle, you just have to focus on the ball when you're facing the ball, and otherwise you don't need to be focused at all time. So I think it's kind of challenging, but at the same time, if you're there as a professional cricketer, you deal with this such situation. So the only time you have to be aware when you're there in the ground. After that, once you're out, you're not doing much, you're in the dressing room, you must have a lot of fun as well. So it'll take that pressure away from you, what you are facing in the middle.
Well, Virat Kohli was at his absolute best. Just one boundary in that innings of 44. He's toured England before in 2014. He wasn't successful. In 2018, he came back as a stronger and a much better batsman. And what he showed yesterday was that he was ready to put his head down and respect the conditions. Bajuba, just one boundary in that innings. The way he's been batting, that's pretty understandable, but only Virat Kohli could have done that.
Well, Rahul, that's what Test cricket teaches you. Every game, every situation, every scenario is different in Test cricket. You have to bat accordingly, and batters who does that, they are not the ordinary batsmen. They are champion batsmen like Virat Kohli. Himself, he adopted those conditions. He understood the condition that it's not the kind of conditions where you can just walk in and start hitting boundaries. You have to face a lot of balls, and there were a lot of different challenges on that wicket. And being a captain, you wanted to lead from the front, and of course he batted beautifully for his 44 and hit only one boundary, but it shows the determination in his eyes, in his heart, that how much he wants to contribute for this team. And it's great to see him the way he batted yesterday, and I hope he continue with the same form today as well, and score a big century for Team India. And I would like to see Team India getting about 350, 375 in the first inning. That'll be a great total on this wicket.
Well, the players were on the field. The covers are coming off as far as Southampton is concerned. There'll be an inspection in about 20 minutes or 10 minutes from now. But the way Harbhajan Singh was telling us about Virat Kohli and the professionalism, the way he adapts to the situation and conditions, well, he was purely significant to India's cause yesterday. And Ajinkya Rahane, he is one of the very few Indian batsmen who has a better overseas average, and he's been he's played some crucial knocks overseas that have won India some very important matches. Well, take a look at what exactly these two gentlemen did at Southampton. Virat Kohli knows it very well how it's done. Conditions in favour of bowlers with the ball snailing around, and the Indian captain displayed his best skills on the pitch. His intentions were clear right from the start, but the kind of master he is at assessing the conditions, Virat understood early that it will take a different set of skills this time to keep going. He left some, got beaten off some, survived some, but still looked assured every time his bat met the ball.
Yeah, I've talked often about how good he was when he first came to New Zealand as a genuine swing bowler.
Virat knows these conditions well. After a disastrous tour of 2014, where he could score only 134 runs in 10 innings, the Indian skipper came back well in 2018 to score close to 600 runs on the next tour of England. With bad weather disrupting the play time and again, it became even more difficult to concentrate. But when the going gets tough, the tough gets going, and Virat also got going. At the other end was his deputy, Ajinkya Rahane, who slowly but surely was gaining confidence.
Very pleasant. The only chasing.
Rahane has been one of India's most impactful players overseas, and in the World Test Championship cycle, he is the leading run scorer ahead of Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli. India's two most experienced batsmen will once again hold the key in conditions where most batsmen would struggle. But as they say, one who laughs last laughs the loudest. Sports Bureau, India Today. Well, Burya, interesting kind of batting, despite the fact, the weather conditions were there. The New Zealand bowlers were doing pretty well. They did not start too well. But Ajinkya Rahane and Virat Kohli, captain and vice captain, they'll be very, very crucial. We have somebody like Rishabh Pant, Ravindra Jadeja, even Ashwin is no mug with a bat. But these two will be very crucial, and perhaps they would be the reason why New Zealand would not be too happy when they left the park yesterday, and would be thinking that maybe they lost a trick or two getting rid of these two batsmen.
True, absolutely. I mean, New Zealand won the toss. You wanted them to get in early. They had the pace, four-pronged pace attack to get into the Indian top order and the middle order. They weren't able to do that. So obviously, New Zealand dressing room will not be the happier lot. India will. But you're right. I mean, if they get the two early breakthroughs today morning, and they are into the middle order and then the lower middle order, they will be able to redeem themselves. On the other hand, India, one big partnership, and we are on song. Harbhajan was talking about 375, etc. Look, that's a bit too far. On a wicket like this, if you get to 300, I think that's good enough. I mean, 300 on this wicket is at least 400 on any decent enough wicket in other parts of the world. So 300 is that eye, the bullseye, if you really want to call it. And if they get to that, India does have the bowling in these conditions, utilizing the weather to really put pressure. So you're absolutely correct. One of these two boys, one of Virat or Ajinkya, will have to bat big, and the others can be, the foil. Rishabh Pant will be aggressive once he gets in. Ravindra Jadeja will score. Also, they are left-handers, so the momentum will break. Right-left combination will come in. So important things will come for India, but the start again, like yesterday, these two are very, very important.
Well, Bora, you just mentioned Harbhajan, in fact, said that India could reach 375 to 400. Pretty optimistic there, Harbhajan Singh. Bajupa, where does that optimism come from? Because you think that India still have a fair bit of batting with Jadeja, Ashwin, of course Virat and Rahane are batting. Is that the reason?
I think it's still in India's hand. I think if they bat well, if they start well, start will be very, very important. If Virat Kohli and Ajinkya Rahane can see through that first half an hour, 45-minute session, I'm sure then they have plenty to score on that wicket. There's not much, sea movement around, going to be today, as we saw yesterday after the ball got a little older. It wasn't doing much. So, I think you just have to give first half an hour, 45 minutes to the bowler, and once that part is done, then Virat Kohli and Ajinkya Rahane and a lot of batting to come up with Rishabh Pant and Ravindra Jadeja, R. Ashwin. India can still look to score 350 plus, and once they score 350 plus, and I'm sure we have got bowlers in our team which can do the job for the team.
Well, the man who was speaking to us, in fact, the man who's speaking to us has 417 test wickets, and the one who's closing in on that record is Ravi Chandran Ashwin with 409 wickets. His overseas record has always been questioned, but the last tour that India did was Australia, where he troubled some of the best Australian batsmen, including Steve Smith, Marnus Labuschagne, and now he has a point to prove, or rather, he has a match to win for India in conditions which usually are not favourable for spin.
I believe in what I do, or at least I believe even doing things that I feel is right. And it's not like I enjoy a controversy, but I enjoy a fight, and that's pretty much why I'm here. It sums it up.
Ashwin is not very happy with whatever he does. He always loves to come out of his comfort zone, learn new things, develop different angles, and that's what makes him so special. He understands his bowling. Most often, what bowlers actually do and what they think they are doing are two different things. And so Ashwin understands the bowling to bridge this gap. So once this is bridged, I think he has a bigger chance to innovate, and that makes him very special.
The beauty about Test cricket is you're always aspiring to be perfect, but you can settle for excellence. So that's pretty much what I think I do. I think in a way, whatever I've achieved in my career so far is because of that attitude to not settle for anything, constantly looking to improve. And I've maintained this. If I don't like doing different things, or if I lose the passion to do something new or get satisfied, then I might not play the sport anymore. I don't really celebrate victories as much as I ideally should. Because for me, a victory is an incident and it's coincidental to planning and practice, so it must happen. I sit and think about what can be better.
I think he's one of the greats of the game, because if you look at his record, it speaks for itself. He's done well with the bat as well as with the ball. He's picked up more than 400 test wickets, so that doesn't come by chance.
I don't really read or dwell too much into my own performances, to be very honest. And if I had to please people and satisfy people and get them to talk good things about me, I'd be just spending my lifetime doing that, and it's just not possible. You can't make everyone happy, and that's not something I live for at all. To be brutally honest, I just hate the fact that I am who I am because of what I do. In India, you get a lot of adulation, and I'm just another normal person who finds peace and happiness playing the sport. It is just absolutely wonderful that I can ply my trade and be, feed my family with it, and I get paid so well. And this is a sport that gives meaning for me to live, so I'm too excited about it. I don't have time for people rating me or not rating me. It's just another person's opinion, and that's just brutally how I live my life.
Bajuba, just like Virat Kohli mentioned on the eve of the test match, chasing excellence. This man is also chasing excellence, but for that to happen, he will first overtake your record of 417 test wickets. Being a spinner, would you back India's strategy to go in with the two spinners in this particular match?
Well, absolutely. I think, as I mentioned in my previous conversation on this platform, that India is definitely having those three fast bowler and two spinners which can be handy on any sort of wicket. And I think that's where New Zealand had made a big mistake by not playing a spinner. On a second inning, New Zealand would be missing that spinner. They have missed out now, and whereas India have the advantage because they'll be bowling fourth on this wicket, and by then I hope that a lot of sun will come out and spinners will come into play. Even if the sun doesn't come, still I think there are still a lot of rough patches which have been created from the first day. There are a lot of right-handers, left-handers who are bowling to different batsmen, in the crease. So our spinners would like to use those, bowling marks into their help.
Well, Boria, as we are speaking, the umpires are on the ground inspecting if the conditions are suitable to go ahead with the match, which is scheduled to begin at 3 p.m. Indian Standard Time. But still, very difficult conditions to bat on.
It will be. I mean, that's the feature of this test match right through. It is not going to be any easier for New Zealand. In fact, it will only get more difficult with the footmarks, and Harbhajan was absolutely right. There will be no sun, but there will be footmarks. I mean, Bolt and Wagner from that side, Saudi and Jamieson from this side, and then Bumrah, Ishant and Shami will pound the wicket as well, creating those footmarks. So there will be help as the match progresses day 3, day 4, day 5 and day 6. So there is no question, Rahul, that it will become more difficult. I mean, batting is not going to get easy at all in this particular format and this test match or this final. So all I'm saying is 300. I keep coming back to that, and I know where Ash is coming from. Ash has always been like that. He will chase excellence. And when you're playing a big final, you don't expect things easy. That's why you're playing a final. This is not a first round game against a weaker team. This is against the best team in the world, New Zealand, on a neutral territory, which is more suitable to New Zealand than India. So it's hard work. But then you will become what? World champion. So do the hard work, Rahul. Get the rewards. There will be play today, whenever play starts, and it will be extended to 7 p.m. England time, which is 11:30 India. So there will be enough for this Indian team. If they can control today, if the narrative can be set today with the batting, we are on song.
Well, that's right. In fact, the weather forecast isn't too great, but as of now, the good news is it's not raining. But I think at around 7:30, what the weather forecast is that there could be light showers. But Boria, I'm going to come back to you again just to give a sense of what this particular test match means to India, to Virat Kohli. Though he said, because I asked him during that press conference if this is the biggest match of his career. He's been part of the 2011 winning team, the World Cup winning team. He's played a final, Champions Trophy final. He was part of the 2019 semi-final. But is this the biggest? He said no, this is just another match, and the Indian team is there to play 6 test matches rather. So, but still, it is perhaps, I still believe that it's the biggest test match. 20 seconds, Boria.
Absolutely. I mean, that Ravi Shastri has given you that answer, saying this is the mother of all battles, even bigger than a World Cup. And you would expect Virat to say what he did to you, that no, it's just another test match, because he doesn't want pressure on himself. He doesn't want pressure on his team. If a captain says, oh, this is the biggest match, okay, but just add to the occasion. Make no mistake, this is one of the biggest test matches, not in his career, but in history.
Well, that's right. Let's hope there is some play, or rather an entire day's play today, and let's hope that Virat Kohli does get to that 71st international 100. He's become the most capped test captain as far as India is concerned. News and updates will continue on the other side. Thanks for watching.